Yeah, that part. Because, this is part 4 of this same recording, about how I ran to the Church of God in Christ in Birmingham, Alabama. It's crazy. It sounds like it's raining outside. It was raining in. It was on a Sunday, you know. I went to jail for that stuff. And I'm like, this is crazy. I'm tired of going to jail for this same mess. A mess that I didn't make. A mess that really shouldn't even be a mess at all. You know what's so crazy? A dude, myself, 16 years old at that time, back then, went to a house where they say a girl was being abused. They didn't really say it that way. That's just the way it sounded. When I met a girl at school, I saw that dude like stick his hand down her dress and stuff like that. They said she was 14. She didn't really say nothing, you know. I asked, was it her boyfriend and stuff like that, she didn't really say anything. They said that, she was just standing there. She could talk though, because that same day, she had said that don't talk to her, talk to him. She said that to a dude, that was inside of the gym. It was at Inslee High School. It was the year of the 9th grade. They said she was 14 years old. She told a guy, don't talk to her, talk to him. I don't know who him was, because when she said don't talk to her, talk to him, the dude that she pointed at when she said talk to him, when she said don't talk to her, I don't know who that dude was when she said talk to him. So I know she could talk because it was the same day. When that dude stuck his hand, because, me just being a witness, when he stuck his hand down her dress, and did whatever he did, they said it was a dude named Corey. It's crazy because he looked at like one of them dudes that they said his name Jeremy. Like, this stuff crazy. It's like they be using the same name and different names and be looking different, but looking the same. It's so weird. I was like, why she didn't say that stuff to him? Why she just let him do that? I didn't say that. That's what I was thinking, because, it's her body and her choice. If she would tell one person, don't talk to her, talk to him, but when one person do stuff to her, she would just sit there and let them. And then, whatever her type and her character is, whatever way she want to be, I was never trying to force anyone to be a certain way, It's just that, a lot of this stuff just seemed weird. So, that was the same day I was there, and I was like, man, that seemed like, something weird, If she not saying he her boyfriend, and if he was doing sex stuff with her, and then if she said that it was blood in her panties and that he hurt her, but she just sat there and didn't say nothing, but she could talk, all of it seemed weird, and I'm like, but if you could talk and you could say stuff, then what, and then if I was there, then they was like, and then looking back on it, they was like, yeah, see, that's the thing about it. I was there. Maybe she didn't want me getting in trouble, for the sex stuff that somebody else did. Because they was like, Brandon, what if you would have fought that dude that day when he did that stuff and the girl was not even your girlfriend, that was there? Because, it was the first day that you said you saw that girl, yet you met her. She wasn't your girlfriend, like, then. So they was like, if she wasn't your girlfriend and you got to fight with that dude, what if that was one of them situations where, well, what if you beat him up, for example? And you know how some of these dudes be, if you beat them up in a fight, they act like they got to come back and fight you again. They just can't stand to say that, hey, I got beat up. That's just all it is. He fought me and I got beat up. Or you fought him and you got beat up. And that's just the end of it. You don't have to they're like, some of these people different. If you fight them and beat them up, then they won't feel, it's like they got to come back with thoughts of killing you. It's like they can't accept the fact that somebody beat them up. So they was like, maybe she ain't want you to get into none of that stuff. So she just didn't say nothing at all. because she was like, he looked at like he would like you know, you like she ain't want you to do that, you know. And they was like, well, you know, they was like maybe because she was like maybe you know like you know maybe she wasn't trying to you know abuse you or get you in trouble, you know. So I'm not really sure, but it was like you know, because think about it, she didn't tell you to fight him, so she wasn't trying to get you in trouble. Because think about it, that'd be kind of wrong if a girl was not your girlfriend and not your wife, and she told you to fight another dude for her. See what I'm saying? So when I look at it that way, it'd be like, yeah, that do kind of make sense right there. Because yeah, I probably would have felt most stupid if I was fighting a dude for a girl that wasn't even my girlfriend. Especially if she never ever ended up being my girlfriend and she never was type stuff. You know, then I would feel real stupid because they'll be like, well, then you left with this dude trying to fight you and you trying to fight him for a girl that never was your girlfriend. And who knows, she was probably never his girlfriend either. And y'all would be fighting each other for nothing for a girl that don't want neither one of y'all. You know, that kind of stuff. So they were like, yeah, she didn't tell you to fight nobody. She was just, you know, you just saw what happened. And then it was like, it seemed like it was the same girl, or somebody act like it was the same girl at least some of them times. Because, like, you know, later on when she was like saying she was my girlfriend, or a girl was saying she was my girlfriend or wife, and she was like, yeah, she said she was there that day. Because, you know, that's when she was telling me that it was blood in her panties and stuff like that. And that the dude, he said something about calling her and making love and all of that stuff. And I'm like, it's crazy, you know. That's what she said. He said, and it was like, you know, they told me all of this stuff, you know, and it was like, it seemed like it was to hurt my feelings or make me feel bad, you know, what they told me. And it was like, who is they? The different people. What the boys told me about her and what the girls told me about her and what some of the people that said their name was April did. It's like, I don't even know if all this stuff happened. It seemed like it was just a bunch of stuff to trigger me and make me mad and make me upset or something. And basically, I wouldn't never fight the girl or do none of that stuff. So on August 9th, 2015, she just told me to fight her or something. I guess the triggering didn't work or something. And they was like, you know, she was like, you got to fight her. And I'm like, wait a minute. So all of this time, was that what you was doing all of this time? You was trying to get him to fight you? You know, me? You was trying to make me fight? Why? That don't really make sense. I don't understand. And after so many years, you just straight up said the word, you got to fight her. So I'm like, this is crazy, man. This is crazy. So it was just a bunch of triggering all of this time. They was like, that's why she did stuff with TJ. That's why she did stuff with Two. That's why she did stuff with Rico. That's why she did stuff with John. That's why she did stuff with them. That's why she be thinking about them when they had sex. That's why she don't like all of that was just triggering to make me fight. So they said, so when I got stabbed on 6th Street, you know, they said a girl said her name was April and she stabbed me on 6th Street. But I was supposed to fight then, and somebody mad because I didn't fight. And then that possibly wasn't even the real April. That could have been somebody saying they was April and they was just trying to make my wife look bad. All of this is too crazy, man. And then it was like, you know, and when that girl was there on 6th Street, you know, she had went in that apartment downstairs with them other people and stuff. But that's crazy because she had a marriage license in her hand when she went down there. And they were like, yeah, when she went in that apartment downstairs on 6th Street, they was like, I think that's what she was telling them people that, yeah, he got a marriage license and he married. Like, it's wrong to be doing this stuff, to be trying to trigger him and trying to make him fight and stuff like that, because it was like, he married, and if a person was saying they his wife, you know, he can't get divorced from a person that's not his wife. So if you tried to say you was his wife and tried to make him be divorced from you, it wouldn't really have an effect because he can't get divorced from a person that was never married to him, because a person that was never married to him, you know, how can you get divorced if you was never married type stuff? So they was like, see, that's the problem with trying to false claim a marriage and trying to be somebody you not. You know, so it was like weird stuff happening there. And it did seem like some stuff, bad stuff happened because like it was this dark shadow that came inside of the apartment on 6th Street. That same apartment, and it had chased the girl around the room. And I was like, it didn't bother me. It just chased her. And she was scared. And I was like, oh Lord, girl, what you did? And then each time we said, oh Lord, I would be like, I think this got something to do with having that second baby and that third baby and playing with spirits. Because why each time you said, oh Lord, you'd be like, wait a minute, that second baby. Then you had the third baby. Oh my God, what did you do? You know, that type of stuff like that, you know. And, you know, not calling them any kind of God or any stuff like that because you don't want to get it, you know, any bad, you know, stuff like that. So it was like, you know. So when I was there, you know, it was like, you know, they were still doing that stuff, you know. They were like, that's when they kept telling me to make all that different music and stuff. You know, they was like, they used the court case and stuff like that. They was like, they was trying to trick me, you know. They kept trying to get me, because that's the thing about it. You got to tell that part. It was like, you remember, a child was born August 31st, 2004. You tried to get that girl out of a bad neighborhood because, you know, if they was grown people that was having sex with children, them men was grown having sex with children, you was like, yeah, I don't really know where I'm going to, but you know, when I was going to that city called Warrior, Alabama, because I had never been there before. But I was like, as long as I know that I'm getting away from those grown people that was having sex with children, you know, I was trying to give the girl a better life. And that's why I was like, just one child, because, you know, it's a 2-bedroom. And if the child got their own bedroom, and they said it was a boy at the time. So I was like, if he gonna have his own bedroom, you know, and stuff like that, then, you know, then you wouldn't really have to do a lot. And then I was gonna do what I was gonna do, you know, I was gonna go and learn how to make music. They was like, she never had nothing to worry about. I wasn't gonna never get another baby mama. I wasn't gonna never have sex with none of the other girls, whether it was at the club or here or there. Even though they might have tried tempting me and might have tried doing stuff or, you know, tried seducing me or whatever and all of that stuff. Like, yeah, I never had sex with them people. I never went all the way. And no matter what kind of crazy comments or stuff people put online or on the internet saying he did this and he did that, like, the evidence shows he ain't got no other baby mama or none of that stuff like that. And he never had no abortion or made nobody have no miscarriage. He not had no children or a child. He just simply didn't have sex with none of them other people. I mean, he would tell if he did, you know. I mean, a dude that would tell you that another dude had butt sex with him and molested him would tell if, you know, he had sex with anybody, you know. And he would tell, because he was like, yeah, the feelings that they gave me, this how honest it is. They made me feel like thinking about having sex with a lot of different girls. They made me feel like I thought about doing stuff with a lot of different girls. But thinking that I thought stuff, I was always told that, you know, every thought is not your thought. And some of that stuff that you be thinking in your head be something that they call projecting. It means you be thinking what people wanted you to think. And then that wasn't really what you wanted to do. Because they was like, if you wanted to do that stuff, you would have actually had full-blown sex with any of them people when they was allowing you. Because, like, then you said specifically one time a girl tried to tell you can do anything you want with her. And you still didn't do nothing, like, yes, because, you know, you did anyway. Because, you know, they were like, that's how they would ask you. They'd be like, how did it feel when you got a chance to, you know, have full-blown sex and go all the way with a person that said she was not your wife and you know she was not your wife, and then you got to try something different. I'd be like, I never did. I never did. And what you feel bad about, sometimes it would feel bad. Because it would feel like you was missing out on something. You know, when all of the guys be talking about they got different baby mamas and this and that or whatever, And that's what happened in this hotel room. I was feeling bad about something that I probably shouldn't have felt bad about. I was like, why everybody else be saying that they got more, Think about it. I was the kind of dude that I was like, man, this dude's just like 19 years old. They say they got 2 baby mamas and that they done had sex with more people than me. And it kind of make me feel bad, like I'm missing out on something. And then people started telling me, boy, you not missing out on anything. You not missing out on paying child support and stuff like that because neither one of the girls don't want you because you cheated on both of them and stuff like that, when you got 2 baby mamas. When both of the girls saying, oh, so he didn't think one baby mama was enough, he needed 2. Girl, he didn't like either one of us because he said you as his first baby mama wasn't enough to satisfy him. And then he said her as his second baby mama wasn't enough to satisfy him. Well, I guess he ain't enough to satisfy either one of us because, like, if he can't find one and stay with it, then she not trying to be number 2 or a side chick and stuff like, they were like, some girls be like that. So they were like, yeah, that's the kind of stuff that you is not missing out on. And they were like, a lot of people say they can understand why you would think that way. Because if a dude say he had sex with 1,000 girls and you only had sex with one person saying that their name was April Williams and she got to do whatever she want and you had to wait, they were like, all of it was abuse. Because, that's the way they did it to me. That's the way they said, and that's what I'm saying when I'm talking about when they did it to me. That's the way they said stuff to me and they presented the situation to me. They said she went out with TJ, she went out with Mark, she went out with grown people. She look at you as being a little boy and not enough to satisfy her and need a real grown man, just like when you met her and you was never nothing serious to her. You was always just a little boy to her, some little virgin boy with no experience. And the other dudes was grown men that know how to satisfy women and got all the experience that she need. And I would always feel bad about that, Because, just being honest about your opinion. Like, when people talk to you that way, it do make you feel bad. And, that's when I was like, why? And then I had asked her, why did you get to go out with all of those different people? And then if I'm the so-called the youngest one, because they was already grown and I was a child, do you really look at me as a child? Do you really look at me as a person that, I'm not, enough or something like that? Am I really just, nothing or the least or something? I would feel that way, And then, she was like, nah, that's not really what it is. Like, it kind of seemed like it would look that way, because telling you would have to wait and stuff like that. And see, that's what people didn't understand about being married in my relationship. They said it's no way that I could have ever cheated on her, because they was like, and I hate to keep saying this, stuff like that, because they was like, people act like they be so nosy and stuff. They was like, if she, the way that her story was presented to me, they said she is a girl that went out with any and everybody she thought she wanted to go out with. Some of them was grown people and she was a child. Some of them was people she went to school with. Some of the people was, people that I just don't even know and people she didn't even know. Then, like, it's crazy, And she told me to wait or whatever, and they was like, since this happened ever in life, they was like, it's not fair if you got to go out with whoever you wanted to go out with and said your name was April. But then when you get with Brandon, you just want him to be with you, and he didn't get a chance to go out with whoever he wanted to go out with and decide if he, they were like, all of it, and they were like, even that part was abuse, to me. Because they was like, they tried using her past, and they were like, that might not even be her past. Because if them was different people, that might just be stuff that a person that said their name was April did. And if it was the same person, then that person might not even be the person that, I was married to. That might just be a person that got the same name that was claiming to be her. This it is. It's just so crazy. And they were like, that's what's been the problem all this time. They were supposed to be trying to find out who is her and that identity and stuff like that because, yeah, they wasted too much time trying to lock me up and taking me to jail and stuff. And they were like, yeah, they think it's because that one of them people, you know, had a partner in crime. And it seemed like if I was the one that kept going to jail, it definitely seemed like she was working with the police in the wrong kind of way. Like doing crime instead of fighting crime. And it was like one of the main crimes that happened was all of that me getting locked up stuff. Because they was like, yo, that had been said before too. They said one of them girls saying like her boyfriend was the police, and whenever he wanted to have sex with her, they would just make up some fake mess for Brendan to go to jail with. And they were like, yeah, that got to stop. Because if they was doing it to me, ain't no telling how many other dudes and people that was doing that stuff too. And they was like, yeah, because he never had a victim. So, you know, they were like, yeah, like something seemed wrong with this stuff or whatever. And they was like somebody done did something they weren't supposed to do. And it was like, yeah, it's crazy. And it was like, you know, and like, that's wrong to use somebody's name that didn't have anything to do with it. Because they were like, you know, basically everything that they did they said was like a trigger. They wanted me being mad at my wife. But they said my wife is not the person that did none of this stuff. They said a person that was using the name of that marriage license and a person that was falsely claiming, you know, the name of my wife did a bunch of crazy stuff because they was like, they wanted me being mad at my wife and blaming my wife for stuff that somebody else did, and they called it killing two birds with one stone. I would get in trouble for doing stuff to my wife, and then my wife would get abused for stuff that she didn't do that somebody set her up to look like she did. But since I'm not the abusive type, it didn't happen that way. Because, you know, I would always be trying to find out what's going on instead of just listening to what people said about her or me. And they like, see, that's what happened August 9th, 2015. You know, when she told you would have to fight her or stuff, they were like, instead of just listening to stuff that people said about me, they could have did the same stuff in the courtroom. They could have found out the truth. They could have said, why you tried to stop him from leaving that hotel? And they were like, anybody could have understood that stuff. They said so much stuff about her in the past. And they're like, who is they? Who is they? Who said so much stuff? Them people that said that they was Stacy, and them people that said they was her sister, and they even told me it was the other dudes before. So I don't know if the other dudes did that, but one time a girl said the dude that said his name TJ, she said that TJ said when Brendan found out what she did and what she been doing, he's just gonna leave her anyway and stuff like that. So it was a lot of they say stuff, and not like when I be talking, but different. They would say people names and said people said stuff, and I don't even know if them people actually said that stuff or if they was blaming them for saying stuff that they didn't even say. It's like when a person said TJ said this and said that, I don't know if TJ actually said that. It's just like when that car had pulled up and that girl ran to that car had tinted windows on there. I don't know if TJ was in that car at all. That could have been Jeremy in that car, for all I know. You know, that could have been anybody. That could have been Al in that car, for all I know. They would be talking about somebody named Jeremy and Al or anybody. That could have been the dude named John in that car. Just because they said it was TJ, and then, you know, a girl, and that's when stuff got crazy, because I was like, what about when you ran to that car with that dude they said name was TJ? When I was on 6th Street in the apartments, that girl there, she said, that wasn't me. She said, that wasn't me. I'm like, but I was there. What you mean that wasn't you? And she said, that wasn't me. That wasn't me. And she had this weird look on her face. It looked sad. It looked like she wanted to cry or like she was stressed. It kind of broke my heart when she said that wasn't me. Because, like, it felt like something spiritually wrong. Like somebody had did something they weren't supposed to do. Because I was like, if I was watching you run to that car, Because they was like, what happened that day? A girl called me on the phone, said her name was April. And like, where you was when she called on the phone? I was at that house that they said was that dude that they said was friends with that Brian Green dude. They said, they said a girl said her name was April. She was with a girl named Stacy, She had never came to my house before at all. She was already hanging out with a girl named Stacy. They said a girl named Stacy had full-blown sex with a dude named Brian Green. The dude named Brian Green act like he was in a war or in some fight against some dude named Toot. Somewhere between then and there, they said a girl that said her name was April went to a dude named Toot house and got abused by a dude named Toot. They said she wasn't my girlfriend when she went to that dude's house, so it didn't have nothing to do with me. And she was hanging out with them dudes named Brian or whatever, and maybe she got caught up in that mess that they had going on, because if a dude named Brian said he didn't like a dude named Toot and they said they was in gangs and they was fighting each other and stuff, then maybe she, shouldn't have got in the middle of that stuff and could have said what I said. I don't want to get in trouble for the sex that they said Toot had or the sex that they said Brian had or whatever kind of gang stuff that they had going on, or, stuff like that. But they was like, yeah, it make more sense for a girl to say something like that too, because, if a girl is a girl and a girl more feminine and not, and not really built to do stuff that a boy do, it make more sense for a girl to say stuff like that. Because if a dude name was Toot and a dude name was Brian, then the girl probably should have been saying, yeah, she not really trying to get involved in all of that gangster stuff and that people talking about guns and shooting and stuff like that. Like, talking about being a girlfriend, a boyfriend, a baby mama, and all of that stuff. You got to know what come with that. Because they be like, if your boyfriend in a gang and shooting guns or whatever, then, his enemies probably in a gang and shooting guns and stuff like that. So you got to know if it's really worth it to be sitting on the passenger seat or getting in cars with dudes like that. They're saying that they in the gangs and that they thugs and that they be in shootouts, because, what if when the guns get to shooting and the gangs get to banging, you sitting in the car talking about you they girlfriend or baby mama or that's your cousin and you just with her, and then she said that stuff like that did happen, maybe not like that. She said she was with a girl named Stacy one time and they went to this person named Courtney house, and then she was getting choked in the car and in the back seat, and then they was abusing her and stuff, and I was like, I can't really do nothing about that. And they was like, it's crazy, because they was like, when she went there, they was like, she wasn't my girlfriend when she went there. And I was like, if she wasn't my girlfriend, they was like, the only reason that stuff happened is because she chose being with somebody else instead of being with me, at that time. Because they were like, yeah, like, they were like, she made a pass for herself that, she didn't have to make. Because they were like, she didn't have to be over there with Courtney or Stacy. She didn't have to be over there with Brian or Stacy. She didn't have to go around none of them people and be in none of them groups or whatever. She could have just said, no, she don't want to do what Stacy doing. She don't want to get in trouble for this. She could have just told the truth. Stacy be hanging around them people that be having guns and that be abusing people and that be trying to make people do stuff that she could have said she don't want to do none of that stuff. She could have said that stuff. That's what they said. Because I'm a dude. I said the same stuff. That's why I wasn't there. Because that's exactly what I said. I said, I don't really want to hang around Stacey and Brian and stuff like that, because, they be talking about being pimps and having sex in children and like with people they don't even want to be married to or that they don't even want, and seeing like they be talking about trapping people and all this stuff that I'm not judging them for being the way that they is, but I'm like, it seems like they believe in some different kind of God. And if your soul and your spirit go back to your God when you die, then I'm not going the same place that they going. And they was like, you see, that's how you know your wife, Brandon. If your wife is your wife, she would believe in the same God you believe in, Brandon. If your wife is your wife, she believe in the same God you believe in. Because in order for her to go where you going and go back with your God, when that's what they said, when people die, they spirit go back to the God that it came from. Then they was like, that's how you would know your wife, Brandon. Because, yeah, Your wife wouldn't have a different God. You know, if you believe in, being married, then your wife wouldn't have a different God of grown men having sex with children. And they would like, see, and so think about the children. That's what you got to talk about, because that's what happened. When a child was born August 31st, 2004, you told a girl that she didn't have to work because, you already had an apartment. They said that you had got a trust fund when you was 19, so you had a little money saved up and this and that, and you had plans on, working part-time, because, being disabled, they said I could work, but only part-time, because, whenever I would try to get a job, I wouldn't be able to keep the job for more than like a month, or I wouldn't even be able to work full time. I wouldn't be able to work more than a couple of days, because with all this stuff like my body and my back and stuff, like, they'll be like, you was doing good at first, and then you act like you couldn't do it no more. It'd be like, yeah, that's how it is when you disabled. You might can walk a little bit at first. You might can work for like 2 days straight, and then all of a sudden, like your body gets stiff and stuck, and it gets sore again. So it was like, they was like, he can do little stuff, but like he can't really, like, it's not his fault. He was abused. They said they hit him with a car. They was like, that's wrong what they did to him. You can't hit nobody with a car, abuse them, and then try to break every bone in their body, and then turn around and tell their wife, look at him, see, he not a real man. You need a real man. He can't get the job done. He not a real. Be like, y'all did that to him on purpose just so you can say he not a real man. That's wrong. That's wrong when you abuse somebody and try to break every bone in their body just because you wanted a girl to like you that liked him, and then you want her to make fun of him for what you did. It's like you tried to break every bone in his body. You tried to abuse him in every way. And then you tried to blame him for the abuse that you did to him, And that's what the girls be saying about that other guy or that other woman, because they said it was a guy and a woman, because they said it was a woman or a lady that wanted the girl, to be in a sexual relationship with another girl or a woman and stuff like that. And that they abused me and tried to make me look, like what they call weak or lame, walking with a stick or in a wheelchair. But y'all did that to him. That's not the condition he was born in. And they were like, that's wrong to do that. They wanted a girl to not like him so bad that they tried to say, if you beat him up and you break him down and you make him lame and he wearing the same clothes every day and you steal his money and he look real poor, that'll make him look undesirable, and then that'll make his wife ashamed of him. And like they seem like that's what they tried to do. And they were like, but your wife wouldn't really be ashamed of you because she believed in the same God and stuff. So that fake person is the one that did that stuff, because, in order for you to even know all of this stuff and be saying this stuff, then, somebody communicated with you. You would know this somehow. So they were like, yeah, they know it just not going to work what they did, and it's wrong. And like, really, they ashamed of what they did, the people that did this stuff, because you don't really see nobody standing up saying, yeah, it's him, it's her. He the one that did all this to you, Brendan. Or look, it's her. She the one that did all this to you, Brendan. They know what they did to you was so wrong, Brendan, that nobody don't want to stand up and say that they the ones that did all of this bad stuff to you. You see what I'm saying? And they were like, and that's what's so dirty about it. Why would somebody do all of this stuff to you, Brendan, and then if you ashamed of doing it, you probably shouldn't have did it. And so it's crazy. So, they know that they wrong for what they did. But like you were saying, talking about the church, and like you got to tell it. When they was born, August 31st, 2004, it was in the apartment. It said the birth certificate said 402 May Circle. When the child was born July 18th, 2006, they said it was in 402 May Circle. Warrior, Alabama is the city, the birth certificates for those, And they were like, they said it was triggers. It was triggers. I don't know. Like, they was like, they thought that he would get mad when the girl said she got pregnant, and, they wanted him to fight and stuff like that. And then when he wouldn't do the stuff, they was like, see, that's what's crazy. That's what they say. They say a lot of stuff. And so I don't know what's true. They say that she would want to go to work and avoid the church, and because like she never wanted to have them anyway, is what they say. They like she got pregnant on purpose because they was like she wanted him to look. They said one of them girls was like basically a girl that they said name was April that they sent into the apartment or the house or in the car with me or the hotel just to trigger me into a fight, and that it was her job because she was like working for somebody else. They said the way that they trained her like was bad. They said it was her job of making me fight her and making me look like an abusive person, you know. And she was using sex as a weapon and stories about the past as a weapon, you know, basically saying that I'm the husband and she had sex with a bunch of different people before, or saying that she pregnant when I know that I wasn't even having sex with her, doing stuff to try to trigger me into, you know, being abusive and stuff like that. And then I wouldn't really do it. So when the child was born August 31st, 2004, you know, obviously if the child was born, you know, I did right during the pregnancy, you know, I didn't, you know, do anything violent or abusive, you know, the child was born. And when the child was born July 18th, 2006, you know, same address for both of them, 402 May Circle, Warrior, Alabama. When the child was born July 18th, 2006, obviously I didn't do anything abusive because, you know, the child was born. I was still in the apartment and I was like, okay, something went wrong because you know, the plan that I made of being married and the one child stuff like that, it then turned into something else now because there's two children and somebody else plan and something seemed wrong, and they were like, yeah, it seemed evil when they did that. And they were like, why would it seem evil? This is what I'm saying, you know, about the children. If it was a house where the children was where grown people was trying to have sex with a child. And that's where she moved from. It was like, it seemed like it might have been a different April or a different person, and in that it was something wrong with what she was doing. And they was like, why? You have to talk like that, like you interviewing and talking to yourself. And it's crazy because they were like, you know, the voices that be talking to me, you got to talk like that. Because they were like, she went back down to that house, you know, that where grown people was having sex with children. And like that's part of what that court case stuff was about, like the in need of supervision stuff. Because they were like, yeah, because the child was born July 18th, 2006, and like you had never had no problems with the children or any kind of fighting or fussing or none of that. No, none of that. I had my own apartment, all this stuff. So like, why did you move from the apartment? And like, why? Like, oh yeah, you said that because somebody tried to change your life and make it about something you didn't want it to be about. They tried to make you be the dad of more than one child and all of that stuff when you was just straight with having one child and being married. And even if she couldn't get pregnant, she didn't even have to have one child. And they were like, yeah, you have to say that right there because some of the people way after the fact said that the first child wasn't your child and that it was somebody else's child and she got injected with some. So they were like, in order to make sure that your wife, you know, feel good about the situation, she would have to know that even if she never got pregnant in the first place, then she didn't have to get pregnant. Because a lot of people said, what if neither one of them girls was your wife and they was trying to force you to, you know, into being a child molester, and they tried to take you back to that neighborhood because that's exactly where they went to. So like if your wife, you know, was listening to this, she would know that if she never got pregnant and if them was just different people saying they was April Williams abusing me the whole time, she wouldn't have to feel bad about her because like they said, see, he said it. She never had to get pregnant at all. It wasn't about having a child. It wasn't about having any children. It's just about being married. Because they were like, yeah, what if your wife was the type of girl that couldn't get pregnant? Because, yeah, when I was at that house on Avenue E, it was a dude that, there, and he claimed to be somebody's father or somebody's dad. And he told that girl, well, you can't have kids. And I don't know if he was saying she can't get pregnant or she can't have kids. And it's crazy because if she couldn't get pregnant, I was wondering, how would he know? How would he know about her vagina and her reproductive system of getting pregnant? But if it was true that she couldn't get pregnant or she couldn't have children or kids or whatever, it was no reason for another girl to try to get pregnant for her and stuff like that. So I really don't know what happened. They were like, you have to tell the truth. And they were like, yeah, they did. Because they were like, they did try to say it was TJ Baby, is what they tried to say. Then they tried to say it was some dude named Main Baby or something that she was doing sick stuff with the other people at the apartments. When they tried to, basically what they said every time I would leave and go to work, somebody else would come to the apartment and she would be with them. And then every time she would leave and go to work, she wouldn't even really be at work. And when she was, that she was doing stuff with the people at work and at her job. And that, they said that to hurt my feelings. They said I never got her pregnant, is what they said about me. And that other people got her pregnant every time. And that she just told me that because of being married in the way that the law worked, they was going to say I was the husband because my name on the marriage license, and it different people got her pregnant, is what they said, and that I never biologically got her pregnant. And that's the kind of stuff they would say to me to hurt me and trigger me. So they was like, yeah, that's kind of, that would kind of hurt you. And that's what they've been saying about you since 2004 when a child was born, 2006 when a child was born, 2008 when a child was born. But then they want to blame you on August 9th of 2015, whoever they are, because they didn't say your wife said none of that. A police wrote something. So they were like, I was being abused all of this time, mentally, emotionally, and it was still sexual abuse. Because if they was using my marriage in a sex life of saying that my wife had sex, with different people and children, then they say, yeah, that's also sex abuse because it's mentally and psychologically sexually abusing, to the point to where, like, look how sad you looked in the picture, to where you was wondering what's wrong with you. You even asked her before, didn't it? Like, what was wrong with me? And she was like, nothing wasn't really wrong with you. Like, but they was like, she wouldn't know that they were saying all of that stuff, because if it was different people, the other people didn't come back and tell her, oh, they said a bunch of bad stuff about you when you weren't listening. So they were like, it's kind of crazy what they did. Whoever they was, the different people. And they were like, all of it was very abusive what they did to me. And, it was abusive what they did to her, If she not the one that told them to do any of that stuff, then they said that's what abuse is. But just like on August 9th, 2015, if she is the one that told me to do that stuff to her, then they say, yeah, that's not abuse if she told him to do it. Stuff like that. Because, if she told him to do that stuff and it's her religion and she was like, she did stuff she wasn't supposed to do and she wanted me to do that stuff to her, then it was like, how you gonna get mad at me for being crazy? How you gonna get mad at me for being stupid? That's what they said. How you gonna get mad at me because a girl said she my wife and she said she did bad sex stuff or did too much stuff in her past and she didn't want to get away with it, and then I got to like lay hands on her or hit her with a stick or give her some lashes or something like that because she know that I wouldn't take it that far and that I wouldn't be murdering anybody, because I would always be like, oh, but my wife, I can't do this, the love and all of that. And so it was like, she know that I wouldn't really go that far with it. It's like, how you gonna get mad at me for, being somebody that, for being married? It's crazy. So they was like, yeah, she did tell him to do that. So they was like, yeah, at that point, like, they said that's when that lady did wrong, when she said the state pressed charges. Because they were like, why she didn't say that in court? A girl said that she was a Brandon's wife. She said she did a bunch of sexually inappropriate stuff in her past and growing up, to the point to where it seemed like it caused so much damage because 3 children, a family, and a bunch of questions that seem like it shouldn't have never, be in a situation to question in the first place, because none of that stuff wasn't necessary, and it was just dudes and girls that wanted to use people for sex. And all these years later, I'm actually, still here with a marriage. Like, they were like, yeah, none of that stuff wasn't worth it. And they were like, if she was trying to straighten the situation out in private, and she, said she was my wife, I got a marriage license, and she said she is my wife, and she said I am her husband. They were like, them other people was wrong for trying to get, because they were like, what if she was trying to confess? Because they were like, yeah, when they did that stuff, they were like, you never really got to talk to her after that. Because they were like, some of the people saying that when that was a different girl that came to the visitation when you was in jail of 2015, 2016, 2017. And in order for them to say that would have to be after the fact, because in order for them to say it was a different girl that came to the visitation, that would have to be after this. So they were like, I wouldn't know that stuff then. And it did seem crazy, because, like, I was so mad. I was so mad when I was in jail. I went mad before I went, because, I was trying to leave out the door. Because she was like, no, you trying to leave me for my sister. You can't leave me for my sister, is what she was saying, stuff like that. And she said it was her youngest sister. They said her name was Candace and stuff like that. I was like, no, that's not what he was trying to do. She kept on saying that her little sister this, her little sister that, or whatever and stuff. And then it's making her crazy. And then, they started telling me later that them people was playing with witchcraft and magic and stuff like that. And that it was probably projecting, and like it was bad thoughts and ideas they was trying to put in people's head. And they was like, yeah, they been doing that stuff. And they don't know, they not saying that the little sister was the one that was doing it. They said they was trying to use her because, they said it would have to be somebody young, because they wanted people being child molesters for some reason. I don't know what that part about, because, I never did any of that stuff. But they was like, yeah, that's why in the apartment, you have to think about that. They said when the child was born August 31st, 2004, and you was at 402 May Circle in Warrior, Alabama, and the child was born July 18th, 2006, and you was at 402 May Circle in Warrior, Alabama. Think about what happened after that. They said they did that stuff on purpose, or it seemed evil when they did that. And they was like, who is they? They said whoever them different people or different spirits is, they said was bad spirits that was trying to make the wrong kind of family planning, instead of going with the marriage that I planned of just the one child and being married, And if she couldn't have children at all, then no children and just being married. You see, that kind of stuff. So they was like, yeah, so it was 2 children and a person saying they was the wife, and they was like, and me being the husband, I was the one that, when the child was born July 18th and August 31st, July 18th, 2006, August 31st, 2004, I had the apartment. I told her she didn't have to work because she was supposed to be there being the mom for the child and the wife for me. If that's what, being married is, not that somebody else's job, how you going to be being a mom to the children if you had somebody else's job? How you gonna be being a wife to me if you had somebody else's job? And they were like, and see, that was the evil spirit stuff that they was talking about. They was trying to ruin your marriage and ruin your life, because then when that child was born, think about what happened. Not only did they have her at that job at that grocery store, but then they had you at that job at that grocery store. It went from being, look, it's the girl that works at Piggly Wiggly, to look, it's the girl and the boy that works at they had you doing the same stuff she was doing. And then not only that, but when they took you back down to Birmingham, back then what it wasn't just going to Birmingham. Where did she go to? She did the same stuff, And it's not accusing her of doing something wrong or bad, but it's just telling the truth about what happened, They was like, just because they said they was her brother or her sister or her mom or her dad or her family, They end up going back to them houses where grown people was having sex with a child. Where the grown people would be known for having sex with a child. And it's crazy. And I hate to keep saying it like that. I'm not really trying to be funny, so, I'm going to try to say it different. But, where the grown people was having sex with children. And you see, that's what's crazy. See, when I tried to say it a different way, see how stuff be trying to, attack my throat and stuff is like that. See, so when the grown folks was trying to have sex with children, and they said, saying it's your mom or and that's why I started feeling that way. Now I started learning, that just because somebody said it's your mom or your dad or your sister or your brother or your family, you have to tell the truth about the character. They can say it's your mom. They can say it's your dad. They can say it's your sister. They can say it's your brother. They can say it's your family. But if it's a house where grown people was having sex with children, you supposed to say that's a house where grown people be having sex with children, Brandon. None of us probably should ever go there. It's just that simple to say. And so they was like, it looked weird because they was like, if she was knowing them people the whole time growing up because she growed up in that house, she already knowed about what they did. And if she so-called had 2 children and she planned on having more than one child, why would she take the children to a place where grown people was having sex with a child? It don't matter if they say they your mom. It don't matter if they say they your dad. It don't matter if they say they your sister, your brother, your family, your kid. Them was grown people that would have sex with children. And see, that's what's crazy about it. And they said, what if she wasn't your wife and she a person that was abusing you and trying to make you go over there because maybe she thought you would end up doing the same stuff and end up liking one of the other children that they said was her sister or her cousin or her family member. And then she would accuse you of being the same way. But none of it didn't happen that way because whoever she is that wanted to do that stuff, maybe she was not your wife and it was, that witch or that witchcraft stuff that they was doing trying to trick you in to something that you never wanted to be a part of because, you never went to clubs or parties anyway, They said that they had birthday parties and went to teenage clubs and all of that stuff, and then you never went to any of them places. They waited until after you got a marriage license and tried to use the church as an excuse. Talking about myself, you ain't gonna be able to sell your beats or make no money or people won't know your music unless you start going to the clubs and they and whatever the children and the young people think it's the cool music, you have to go to the young people club or the teenage club and get your music played and stuff like that. Soon as you go to them places, they would want to accuse you of having sex with a child. Or as soon as you go to them grown folks places, they'll want to accuse you of cheating on your wife and having sex with a stripper or a sex worker. Thank God, my God, that I never did any of that stuff. And it was, it was stupid to ever even go to any of them places. And they was like, maybe your wife didn't know about this stuff. If your wife really is 2 years younger than you, maybe, just like you not that smart, maybe she not that smart neither. Maybe looking back on it, she like, yeah, don't make the music. That's why you don't really be hearing music in these videos no more. Maybe you were like, yeah, making the music not worth it or whatever. If all they was doing was telling you to go to clubs and stuff like that to try to see if you would have sex with somebody, and as soon as you did something, they was going to accuse you of having sex with a child or with a person that's not your wife and all of that crazy stuff, then seemed like it wasn't really about music for them, and it really wasn't about learning a skill for them, and it was just about trying to set you up and tempt you with stuff that they tempted by. They the ones that's tempted by children. They the ones that's tempted by sex workers. They the ones that think that way. I was around all of them people and they never had sex with any of them. Not even no first base, second base, none of that stuff. You can't go all the way if to third base or whatever scoring if you don't even go to first base or second base. I went in no children's club kissing children or trying to have sex with a child. I was standing there trying to get my music played or whatever while they was all dancing around and stuff like that. After a while, I was like, you know what? I don't even want to do none of this stuff no more. It's crazy because I was like, they use music and making music as an excuse for having sex with any and everybody or whatever, and then it end up not being about the music at all. And I definitely, when, looking for no contract or none of that stuff, they was just like, if they play your beats and play your music, some people might want to buy your beats and buy your music and pay you money for it, and you can use the money to take care of your family and have your own business. But, I learned how to make the music and stuff like that. It's just that nobody didn't really want to pay for it. It's like everybody be wanting to get stuff for free or whatever. Nobody didn't, it's crazy, man. They act like you got to be in some special group with a contract in order to get paid for certain stuff. So, I learned about that stuff and, evidence that I made videos and learned how to do stuff and evidence that, I'm not trying to be part of those kind of contracts or those kind of groups. Because, I was never really a group person. Because they was like, if you in a group, they'll say that you a groupie. And they'll say that you some kind of hoe or a groupie hoe. And it's a bad look, when the group thing. They say it's probably better to be a couple than to be in a group because you wouldn't want to be accused of being a groupie or a hoe or a groupie hoe is what they call it. And so, that's why I never really did none of that stuff. So, when the children was born, they said it seemed weird because like a person kept going to them same houses. And I was like, wait a minute. If they was grown people that had sex with children, back then when it was at 2715 Avenue E, Ensley, wouldn't it be the same way? Just because they went to 2928 Avenue T, Ensley, it still was grown people that had sex with children. And they was like, yeah, you not supposed to be going places where grown people have sex with children because those children would be the kind of children that have sex with grown people, and those grown people would be the kind of grown people that have sex with children, and that's probably why you didn't want to go there and you stopped hanging out over there, whether they said they was your family or her family or any of that stuff, because you just not that type of guy. So, that type of stuff. And when I was down there, I told that girl, I was like, I don't want to go over there anymore. I'm not going over there no more, because I'm like, every time I went over there, some child or some person that was trying to say they was a child, was trying to be some sex or something like that. And it seemed like they were, and they was like, it's just crazy, And I was like, yo, like, being married is being married, but all that extra family stuff like that didn't seem like extra family. It seemed like they was just trying to offer extra sex. And I said, no. And then sex with a child. A child. It's crazy. Wife, if you hearing any of these, or if my wife can hear any of these videos or whatever, and that's the stuff that they did wrong to me. They kept trying to get me to go, to them houses on Avenue T and Avenue E. And, after having a marriage license, they kept trying to take me around grown people that would have sex with the children. And they were like, that's the stuff that they did in family court, when they ruined them children's life. They kept on trying to make us be a family with Yolanda and stuff like that. And I'm like, she the same way. She claimed that she was the mom of them boys that was having sex with a child. A child. You don't want to be a family with grown people that was having sex with children. Because whether they say their name Antoine or Aldwin or Jeremy or whatever, whether they say their name Williams or Johnson, once you are a grown person that had sex with a child while you was grown, you're going to always be a person that is the type of person that was a grown person that had full-blown sex with a child. And I can't be friends and family with you once you is a grown person that had full-blown sex with a child. So they like, in the family court of Jefferson County, yeah, case closed. Whether it's the Williams family or the Johnson family. Once you is a grown person, like he said, and you had sex with a child while you was grown, You could have did the same thing Brandon did. You could have said, I'm grown and you a child. You look cute. You pretty. But I can't have sex with you. So yeah, I'm not one of them R. Kelly people. You can't say she seduced you and made you have sex with her. You can say she seduced you and wanted you to have sex with her, but you still supposed to say, I'm grown and you a child. Whether you said that to her or whether you said that in your mind and you grown and you just did not have sex with a child. So, in those situations,